He found their purpose. What is the soul of the Corps? Welcome to Hidden History with Frank Strickland. Thank you for watching.
Today we delve into a tale of vision, of grit, and of a man who didn't just lead, but forged an institution. We're talking about Major General John Archer Lejeune, the 13th Commandant of the United States Marine Corps. But to understand the full measure of his impact, we must first go back. Imagine the turn of the 20th century. The Spanish-American War had just wrapped up. The Marines, ever present, had been instrumental in far-flung locales from Cuba to the Philippines. They were good at what they did: shipboard detachments, guarding naval bases, landing parties in the banana wars of Central America. Tough, reliable, always ready. But their future? Well, it was murky. The Navy saw them primarily as an extension of their own force, useful for putting boots on the ground. The Army often viewed them as a small, specialized infantry unit, perhaps even redundant. The Corps, for all its bravery and tradition, was adrift in the strategic currents of a changing world. Enter John A. Lejeune. A graduate of Annapolis, class of '88, he chose the Corps. He cut his teeth in battle and diplomacy, commanding Marines in places like Panama and Cuba, always learning, always observing. Then came the Great War, the war to end all wars, a monumental conflict that would shatter old doctrine. And here John Lejeune did something truly unprecedented. As a Marine, was given command of an Army division, the 2nd Division of the American Expeditionary Forces in France. Think about that. A Marine leading Army troops. It was unheard of. Under his command, the 2nd Division, a mix of Army regulars, National Guardsmen, and his beloved Marines, including the legendary 4th Marine Brigade, distinguished itself. At St. Mihiel, they smashed through German lines. In the brutal Meuse-Argonne offensive, they were a relentless spearhead. John Lejeune was recognized with the Distinguished Service Medals from both the Army and the Navy, and the French Legion of Honor. He was a hero, a proven commander of men. But here's where the story truly begins. When John Lejeune returned home in 1919, the Corps was facing an existential crisis. Post-war budget cuts and political maneuvering threatened to reduce the size and role of the Marines to near insignificance. They needed a champion. They needed a purpose. In 1920, John Lejeune became the 13th Commandant. He knew the Marine Corps couldn't survive just by being a second-rate infantry force. It had to be essential to the Navy. John Lejeune issued a revolutionary decree. He said the core mission of the Marine Corps was to be the Fleet Marine Force, trained and equipped to seize and defend advanced naval bases in preparation for the fleet's arrival. This idea, the deliberate, sophisticated combined arms amphibious assault, was almost science fiction in the 1920s. But John Lejeune made it the law of the land for the Corps. He centralized officer education at Marine Barracks Quantico, transforming it into an intellectual crucible. He established the Marine Corps Institute, offering correspondence courses to every enlisted Marine, lifting their minds and morale. He defined the relationship between officers and enlisted men, not as master and servant, but as teacher and scholar. But his most powerful stroke? It wasn't in doctrine or logistics. It was in tradition. In 1921, John Lejeune issued Marine Corps Order No. 47, Series 1921. This order didn't talk about rifles or battleships. It decreed that every year, on November 10th, the birthday of the Marine Corps must be celebrated with ceremony and flair, and his accompanying message on the Corps' heritage must be read aloud worldwide. He gave them a definitive date, a shared memory, and a formal tradition. He ensured that no matter how small the Corps became, its soul would remain immense and undeniable. This dedication to defining the amphibious mission and forging an unbreakable spirit saved the institution. Because of John Lejeune's tireless work in the lean years of the 1920s, developing the doctrine and training, the Marines were ready when the world went to war again. The beachheads of Guadalcanal, Tarawa, and Iwo Jima, the very operations that cemented the Corps' immortal legacy, were merely the perfect execution of the Fleet Marine Force blueprint drawn up by John Lejeune. That's why, every November 10th, Marines around the globe pause to hear the words of the 13th Commandant.